Good morning.
Good morning.
As Stephanie mentioned, my name is Joel Perritte. I'm the pastor of the Methodist Church in Corpus Christi. We're a relatively new church. We'll have our 6-year anniversary in just a couple of weeks. I moved to Corpus to be the youth pastor at Yorktown Baptist Church back in 2010. And then after about 4 years serving as a youth pastor there, Yorktown Baptist Church helped us start our church, which is now a Methodist Church. And as I said, we're about 6 years old. I'm married to Carrie. We've been married about 15 years this year. We celebrate our 15th anniversary. And I have a 5-year-old son named Barnabas who starts kindergarten tomorrow. It's a big day for us. And I have a daughter that's 11 months old, and her name is Jonica. And she's teething right now. So if I look a little tired, it's because about 3 a.m. she was over the Tylenol, which did not last all night, and was wailing a little bit last night. In addition to pastoring my church, I'm extremely involved in the area of child advocacy, or the child welfare system. Basically, trying to engage the church, first of all, my church, pastorally, but the church at large, especially in the coastal bend and in South Texas. I have a vision to engage the church at a much higher level in the issues surrounding the child welfare system. Children in crisis, vulnerable children, marginalized children who have been affected by abuse or neglect. We do that in a lot of ways in my church, but the way that I'm here to talk to you about today is a way that your church has already signed up. But the reason that I'm here today is to help hopefully spark some interest or some fire in all of you actually taking some steps to get involved in something that you're already signed up for, and that's called Care Portal. Care Portal is a piece of technology. That technology connects local churches like Rockport, First United Methodist Church, and Emmaus Church in Corpus Christi, and other churches. That technology connects local churches like my church and your church to the needs of children in crisis in our neighborhood. And that happens in partnership with child welfare agencies. Just in Aransas County, we partner in the context of Care Portal with the Children's Coalition, which Stephanie's the president of. We partner with the school counselors at your local schools at Aransas County ISD. And we also partner with Child Protective Services. All of those organizations just in Aransas County and in Rockport are able to use the Care Portal technology when they come in contact with a child in crisis that's willing to receive help from a local church. They can use that technology to generate an email to your church and to other participating churches in Rockport to let them know, hey, there's a child in your neighborhood that needs some help, and they're willing and wanting to receive help from a local church. Would you be willing to help them? That's what the Care Portal technology does. And so my role within Care Portal is that we use it at my church significantly. Just over the last about 3 to 4 years, my church has served almost 300 of the most vulnerable children in Corpus Christi. And we've had an estimated economic impact in Corpus Christi of over $60,000. Now, my church is not a large church. We're not very old. We don't have unlimited resources. I can guarantee you we didn't set aside $60,000 for this purpose. But every time a need pops up in 78411, it's basically a race for us to say yes to helping a child in crisis in the name of Jesus. And we just keep saying yes, and the Lord keeps giving us more ability to do that. This morning in the first service, I shared some of the statistics from my county in Nueces County. But in this service, I wanted to share with you your stats from Aransas County. Last year, in 2018, in Aransas County, there was 271 calls made to CPS to investigate abuse or neglect of a child, just in your county. Last year, from those 271 calls, 152 investigations were initiated. There was reason to believe that there was indeed abuse or neglect, and so Child Protective Services investigated based off the claim that was made. Of those 152 investigations, 38 children were removed from their home in Aransas County. Of those 38 children that were removed, we're losing in the coastal bend and in Rockport. Aransas County is no different. We're losing about 60% of the children that are removed. We're losing them from our counties. So in my county, it's over 100 children a year. They're Corpus Christi kids. They're Nueces County kids. They've already been removed from their home because of the suspicion or the actual reality of abuse or neglect, so they've been removed from their parents. There's nowhere for them to stay in foster care in Nueces County, and so now on top of the trauma of potentially being abused or neglected, on top of the trauma of being removed from their home, now they're going to have additional trauma of having to go and live somewhere else. In almost every one of those cases, they're going to be separated from their sibling, which is another trauma on top of the trauma that I've already described. So we're losing about 60% of the children that enter into the care of the state from our counties. These are our children. Your Aransas County children are your children. My Nueces County children are my children. The reason that I'm here today, and the reason that Susan is here today, is to call the church to take care of our children. It's to tell the church that it's not okay when there's so many resources among the Jesus people that we would have our children leaving our county and going to other places when the Jesus people are well represented here. There ought not be any children leaving to go anywhere else because we have plenty of Jesus people here. We have plenty of churches here. In Nueces County, we have over 350 churches. And that 125 children that we lose every year, the 125 that are waiting for adoption in Nueces County, we have over 350 churches. How is it that we couldn't take care of 125 children and adopt the other 125-ish that we have with 350 churches in our county? There's more than enough resources in my county and your county that no child should ever have to leave this county to go anywhere else. There's more than enough resources in my county and in your county that every child that's waiting for adoption would be able to have a forever home because the Jesus people are here. Because that's not happening, that's why I'm here today. That's what I want to talk to you about. That's why Care Portal was actually created. Care Portal was created by the Global Orphan Project. It's an international orphan care ministry based out of Kansas City, Missouri, and they've been doing orphan care for about 15 years in Haiti and Uganda and India. They basically asked themselves to bring some of the things that we've learned to bear on the domestic foster care crisis. And so they brought some of the best people that they had together. A lot of people are trying to do that, by the way, because our foster care system is in crisis. There's a lot of people with eyeballs and energy on trying to fix the issues that we have. And so the Global Orphan Project added their effort and their voice to trying to fix the foster care crisis in America. And they created this technology, and that technology is actually revolutionizing the child welfare system in America. It's only 4 years old, but in 4 years it's already in over 20 states. It launched in New York, Hawaii, California, all in the last 4 or 5 months. In less than 4 years nationwide, over 40,000 of the most vulnerable children in America have been served by the local church, by the Jesus people, through the technology of Care Portal. In under 4 years, over 40,000 children have been served. And nationwide, it's had an estimated economic impact of over $15 billion to the most vulnerable children in our society, children who have been abused or neglected, or under threat of abuse or neglect. Now, among the things that the Jesus people can be involved in, I don't think anybody in this room would disagree that reaching out, pursuing, loving, blessing, serving, saving, rescuing, providing for, trying to bring the shalom of God into the lives of children who have been abused or neglected or under the threat of abuse or neglect is like among the highest priorities that's been given to the Jesus people. Amen? If we're supposed to be doing anything, I'm literally 100% certain that that is one of the things that we are supposed to be doing. And historically, from the very beginning, from the birth of the church, that's always been what the Jesus people have been about. In fact, that's why there is a worldwide church. It's because of the concern and care for the vulnerable, especially children. In the very beginning, that's why the church spread so rapidly. And in America, the church has been kind of told to sit down and stay out of this area for many years, and that's changing right now. Actually, you may be familiar with political things, but in the state of Texas, that's changing. Over the last 5 years, there's been an incredible push in the state of Texas to re-engage the church in the domestic foster care crisis or in the statewide foster care crisis, and all of the obstacles that have kept the church out of being involved in the lives of children who have been abused or neglected, who are under the threat of abuse or neglect. Those obstacles are being removed in the state of Texas, so that the church can re-engage, because the government is acknowledging that there's no way they can solve this crisis on their own. And we know that to be true. And so they're basically repenting, changing their mind, and they're actually welcoming the Jesus people to step back into the space to do the things that only we can do. That's an incredible development in the state of Texas, and Care Portal is a part of that effort in the state of Texas, and it's a piece of technology that makes it very easy for your church. So having said that, I just want to remind you, as I have been reminding you, but I just want to show you from the scripture. Psalm 13, verses 7 and 8 says this. It says that the Lord raises the poor from the dust. It says that he lifts up the needy from the ash heap, and that he gives those ones a seat with princes. And many of you know Psalm 23:5. It says that you prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. This is the word of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God. Psalm 113, verses 7 and 8 is so significant in the life of the Jewish people. It actually is a quotation from Hannah's song. If you're familiar with the story from Hannah in 1 Samuel chapter 2, Psalm 113 is lifted directly from her song in 1 Samuel chapter 2, verse 8. If you're not familiar with Hannah's story, Hannah was barren. She was childless. And to be childless in the ancient world, especially even among the Jewish people of that day, relegated you to the bottom rung of society. Basically, you were destined to be poor, and it was among the most shameful and sad realities to have to live out in the ancient world, was to be childless. As if that weren't enough, Hannah was not only childless and was very much in despair about that reality. She was being bullied by her rival. I don't know if you remember that part of the story. I was actually reading the story to my son recently before we went to bed, and we were talking about her being bullied by her rival. And the scripture tells us that she was in such despair that she weeps bitterly, so much so that she can't even eat. But she prayed, and God heard. Amen? God hears and answered her prayers for a son, and her son she named Samuel. That was Hannah's son, and the prayer that was answered took the form of Samuel. And then after Samuel was born, she wrote a song of praise that becomes some of the most influential words, as I said, in all of Judaism. Again, 1 Samuel chapter 2. Hannah's song later became a lot of what's in Psalm 113, which I quoted to you. Psalm 113 is so significant in the life of the Hebrew people, the nation of Israel, that beginning with Psalm 113, it was the beginning of a section of songs known as the Egyptian Hallel. Basically, these songs of praise that were very, very special among all the songs. In fact, this group of songs would have been sung in one form or another at all of the great Jewish feasts, especially the Passover. And I often think about the power of the words of Psalm 113, verses 7 and 8 especially. Again, the Lord raises the poor from the dust. He lifts up the needy from the ash heap, and he gives them a seat with princes. I think about the power of those words often in the life of King Jesus. There's about 3 ways that I tend to think about the power of those words for Jesus. Number 1, if you're familiar with Jesus' story, and if you're familiar with the story of his mother, Hannah's song, which is how we get Psalm 113, Hannah's song deeply inspired Jesus' mother Mary. Her words are massively influenced by Hannah's song, the Song of Mary from Luke chapter 2. I think about how the song that came from Mary's heart when she found out that she was going to be the mother of the Messiah. And the song that she expressed, it was a riff on Hannah's song. There's so many elements that are exactly like Hannah's song, that come from Hannah's song. These words were deeply embedded in the heart of Mary. This was her hope. This was her belief that she served a God who was happy, who loved, whose heart was filled with passion, to raise up the poor from the dust, to lift the needy from the ash heap, and to give them a seat with prince. And Mary, of all people, is the perfect person. In her lowly estate, she becomes the mother of the Messiah, talking about going from the ash heap to having a seat with princes. You are the mother of the Messiah. These words would have resonated deeply with Mary, and I'm confident that she would have passed them on to Jesus in one way or another. Not only is there power in the connection of Mary to Psalm 113, but because of the Song of Hannah being so obvious in Luke chapter 2, the Song of Mary. There's also a powerful connection that we see toward the end of Jesus' life, actually, in the institution of the Lord's Supper, which was Jesus celebrating the Passover meal. It was at that Passover meal that Jesus instituted the Lord's Supper. And actually, in Mark chapter 14, the scripture tells us that after the institution of the Lord's Supper at the Passover meal, Mark chapter 14, verse 26, it says that they sang a hymn and then they went out to the Mount of Olives. I don't know if you've ever read that and wondered what hymn they sang. But it's almost certain that they sang a hymn from the Egyptian Hallel, if not the whole Egyptian Hallel together. Everything we know about Judaism and how they celebrated and the role of those songs in the lives of Jewish believers in the context of Passover tells us that Jesus probably sang Psalm 113, especially verses 7 and 8. The Lord raises the poor from the dust. He lifts up the needy from the ash heap, and he gives them a seat of princes. Jesus probably sang those words after he instituted the Lord's Supper on his way to the cross. And of course, the most powerful connection to Jesus is his actual embodiment of those words, how he in himself saw his mission, his life, his death, his burial, his resurrection as a lifting up the poor from the dust, and a giving of the most undeserving people, the ones to whom he came who had rejected him, in his death, giving those ones, people like us, a seat at his table, even though we didn't deserve it. Jesus was the full embodiment of Psalm 113. Amen? I think about Psalm 23, verse 5. You prepare a table before me in the presence of my enemies. I think about how there is a shepherd. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want, is how Psalm 23 starts. And I think about the fact that there is a shepherd whose heart is burning with love for the vulnerable children that I'm talking about today. Children who are facing enemies like poverty, abuse, neglect, the demise of their family, the removal from their home, the separation from their siblings, being forced to leave the city where they grew up, where their friends are, where their team is. And actually, it's in the midst of enemies like those that God is wanting to provide places of rest, places of blessing, places of abundance, places of provision. In the middle of a situation with children facing enemies like that, he's wanting to prepare a table for those children. And what are those tables? Where are those tables? Whose tables do they belong to? Well, they belong to Yahweh. They belong to God. They belong to Jesus, without a doubt. But I don't think those are metaphorical tables. I don't think those are spiritual tables. I think those tables are our physical tables at which children who are vulnerable and marginalized would be able to have a seat at those tables in the presence of all the enemies that they're facing. I think those tables are our tables, actually. This is what God does. Provide a table in the presence of your enemies to provide rest, abundance, provision, sustenance, shalom, full human flourishing in the midst of your enemies. This is what God does. This is what he did for his people in the Exodus. This is what he did for Jesus. When he raised him from the dead, in the presence of his enemy death, God raised Jesus from the dead. This is what God does. This is what Jesus did for us. This is what we get to join God in doing for others. Raising the poor from the dust, lifting the needy from the ash heap, and giving them a seat with princes. We get to join God in preparing tables for children in the presence of their enemies, in the name of the Good Shepherd, King Jesus. And that's the opportunity that Care Portal provides. It's not just a delivery service. It's an opportunity to be made aware of children in crisis, the needy ones who are sitting in the ash heap of life, right here in your own neighborhood. Through Care Portal, the church has the opportunity to join with God, lifting them up, letting them in on the reality of the kingdom of heaven. Again, it's not just a delivery service, it's an opportunity for the Jesus people to tell children that God loves them, that there's a seat at his table for them. It's an opportunity to let them know about the inheritance that they have in Christ, the membership that they have in Christ in the family We bird a little bit. I like a bird. Now, I don't have a physical list or anything like that. Some people have a physical list where they're checking off birds. I'm kind of doing that mentally, and I'm actually pretty good at keeping track of things mentally, and so I keep track of birds. If I ever see a bird that I don't know what it is, like I'm going to, within the next 30 minutes, find out what that bird is. And because unless it's marked on, that's not actually that hard to do. And so I'm always keeping track of the birds that I see, and I really care about it. Well, when I was with my friend at his church, this was a hawk. Flew, and actually I knew because I'm a birder that it was a white-tailed hawk, and actually I've seen them many times at this specific church because I go there quite often. There's actually 2 different families of white-tailed hawks that live in these trees right outside of the parking lot, and I see them all the time at this place. And so I saw it, and I was getting ready to say, hey, look at that white-tailed hawk, except before I could say like my excitement about the white-tailed hawk that was flying by, and its incredible, glorious beauty, this person said, hey, look at that, and I was like, oh wow, he sees it too. He said, look, it's a Mexican eagle. Now, I'm pretty straightforward. You may have already gathered that this morning. And so there was no way I was going to let that. I just can't let that slide. It was not a Mexican eagle. I mean, the Mexican eagle was interesting in its own right. But this was not a Mexican eagle. It was a white-tailed hawk. And one of the reasons that's so important is actually the Mexican eagle is really interesting. It was important for me, and this is what the whole sermon illustration came out of this whole thing, because I mean, a Mexican eagle is not a white-tailed hawk. Technically, a Mexican eagle is called a crested caracara. You see them around a lot around these parts. And they're actually a really interesting bird in their own right, but they're no white-tailed hawk. I mean, the Mexican eagle, it has like the beak of an eagle, it has the talons of a hawk. But if you see a crested caracara, they're never doing hawk things. One of the fascinating things about the Mexican eagle or the crested caracara is even though they have all the tools and the abilities of a hawk or an eagle, they have talons, they have a beak, they actually act like a buzzard. You see them scavenging for food on the side of the road, and you're like, look at that bird, why is it on the side of the road? Why is it eating, a dead armadillo or something, a dead possum on the side of the road? It looks like a glorious eagle. And actually, that's a little bit about what I think has happened to the Church of Jesus Christ in the space of child advocacy. We have, the scripture says, by the way, that in Christ we've been given every spiritual blessing in Christ Jesus. The scripture says that every single thing that we need for life and godliness are ours in Christ. As I've already said, all of the resources that would be needed to take care of every single vulnerable child in our counties is housed within the Church of Jesus Christ. We don't need any additional people or more resources. We already have more than enough resources to take care of everything we need. But unfortunately, just like the crested caracara, even though we have all of the tools and all of the resources to be something great, a lot of times the Church of Jesus Christ lives below its calling. We've been given every spiritual blessing in Jesus Christ. We have the opportunity to radiate the beauty of the white-tailed hawk in the space of child advocacy in other areas as well, but we settle for the life of the crested caracara. We live like a buzzard. We live below our calling. We lack imagination. And so that's why I'm here today. If the Lord has told me anything that I know as much as I know anything, is that I'm supposed to talk to the Church of Jesus Christ about the plight of vulnerable children in the coastal bend. And I know specifically in Corpus Christi, the 100 children that we're losing every year to other counties, the Lord has told me specifically, there's going to be a day, if you keep doing what I ask you to do, that you're not going to lose any more children. That there won't be a day when any Oasis County children that are my children, pastorally, they're our children, we're not going to lose them to someone else because the Jesus people are going to step up and we will take care of all of our children. That's the vision, that's the dream that God's given me. That's most specifically why I'm here today. And so what I want to do is I want to do 2 things before I step down. Is we're going to watch a video about Care Portal. It's just about 2 minutes long, but it's just going to explain all the things that I've just told you about what Care Portal is and why it's such a significant opportunity. Again, I want to remind you that your church is already enrolled in this, and so the opportunity for you to do all the things that I've said and that you've heard today already currently exists. It's just a matter of you stepping up to the plate and taking some ownership and responsibility in the space of Care Portal because your church is already enrolled and you're already being notified. So we're going to watch this video, and after the video, Susan Klaus is going to come up. Susan Klaus for me, as far as I know, I don't know everything, but I do know about the birds, and I know about a couple of other things. But for my money, in my opinion, to engage the church broadly in the issues of child welfare. Before there ever was a care portal, Susan was helping me in my church learn how to care for vulnerable children. And so Susan's ministry is growing and expanding. She's going to talk a little bit about Agape Ranch and the opportunities that through Agape Ranch, the church has the opportunity to care for the kind of children that I've been talking about today. And she locally is the person that's administrating Care Portal as a part of her comprehensive ministry for children in crisis. And so you're going to get to hear a little bit about Agape Ranch as well. But you're wondering, okay, I heard about Care Portal, and now I'm hearing about Agape Ranch, and how do those things go together? Agape Ranch is a comprehensive orphan care ministry, and Care Portal is a part of that comprehensive orphan care ministry. And so it's significant for you to be able to hear about that today. So I'm going to let you hear from Susan in just a moment, but first we're going to watch this video, and then we'll come back in a moment and we'll finish up our service. Thank you so much for letting me come and to talk to you. It's an honor to be anywhere. One of the great opportunities with Care Portal is just to get to be in a lot of different churches with a lot of different kinds of people. I personally really value that. I love being in different settings, different contexts, outside of my own denomination, being able to worship with you, and so I'm really grateful for you allowing me to come today. So let's watch this video and then we'll hear from Susan.
In every community, there are children and families in crisis who need help. But for many, isolation and lack of community resources prevents them from getting the help they really need. And in every community, there are churches and people who care, who want to take action. But what they need is a connection point and support. Care Portal allows child welfare professionals to share real needs and real time through technology. The Care Portal network is already helping children all across the world.
I look at the Care Portal as a platform for us to be able to do ministry across denomination lines, across racial lines, across social economic lines, and the connection then brings ministry really to the people on a day-to-day basis.
The process starts when a child welfare professional identifies a need. They submit a request to the Care Portal's platform, which quickly sends a message to participating churches nearby. Each church can respond directly back to the caseworker when they are able to meet a need, or they can engage other churches and community partners who want to help. Whether one church responds or a whole community of churches and businesses and caring people work together, a local church is always at the point of care for children and families in need. Each request presents the opportunity for churches to make meaningful connections. Sometimes that connection is meeting one need at just the right moment. At other times, it develops into a lasting relationship.
So many of our children and families in child welfare are isolated. They don't have a support system. Care Portal can provide not only the physical needs for the children and family, but can also provide a support system and relationships. So this is the community and the churches becoming involved in families and children who need them.
That's what we're all about. We're all about love and sharing with people. Care Portal is a unifying factor, and I think Care Portal is going to open the door for the church not to be converted, but to engage.
When you join the Care Portal network, you become part of a movement. We're inviting your church to pray, serve, and give. Jesus is changing the child welfare system through his church. And this work happens by churches saying yes to children and families in need all across the world. So dream about how your church can be part of the movement.
Hello, my name is Klaus, and I'm the executive director of Agape Ranch. Thank you so much for having us here. Just a little bit about myself. My husband and I have 5 children. We live in Corpus Christi, and I would say Sure, we have our jobs. My husband teaches at Texas A&M University, and I was working as a realtor back then. And as we were praying, we just kind of said, all right, what do we do with our lives? This is one thing that God would want us to do. And so he and I kind of prayed separately, asking the Lord to speak into our hearts. And about 3 or 4 months later, after we prayed, we got together and we said, all right, what is the Lord telling you? Because we're hoping that'll be the same thing, right? And so as we shared, it sure was, the Lord had been putting into our hearts, take care of my children. And so initially, in our minds, we had just adopted our second son. And in our minds, it was like, oh, we need to do this internationally. So we started just really looking into and volunteering and getting very involved with the orphan care ministries around the world. But every time we did that, we felt like the Lord was closing a door. And we were just like getting a little frustrated, saying, we said we'll go anywhere. We'll say we'll do anything. My husband was a missionary kid, and my background actually is in educational studies and how children learn. And so, as we were talking about that, we're just asking the Lord, where do you want us? And that's when he opened up the whole arena of foster care in the Corpus Christi, the Coastal Bend area. And we were like, oh wow, look at this. And the needs that are right here in Corpus Christi and the Coastal Bend. What really triggered for us was the fact that as we were serving in orphanages in Mexico, Haiti, Thailand, Ecuador, and actually partnering with some other mission organizations, we saw over and over again that there were children in these orphanages that had living parents. The parents couldn't take care of them because they were either incarcerated or they were living in poverty or other abuse or neglect situations were happening. And if you really think about it, that's what's happening right here in the United States. We just happen to call it foster care. And so once that light bulb went off on our heads, we're like, this is what we're supposed to do right here in the Coastal Bend. And as Jill was sharing and as the video was sharing, the care portal comes all within the range of what we're doing because Agape Ranch works from prevention, foster care, adoption. We're currently creating a program for our transitional youth. So currently right now, the care portal is working only in the preventative state, meaning when a investigator with CPS goes out and finds out it's not an abuse or neglect, but it is actually a case of poverty or just some challenges, and if we just help them as a church, then they don't have to lose their children. And so that is what the care portal does. We try our best to keep the families together because really that is where the children belong, is with their parents. One of the things that I found out early, and it just broke my heart, was that 90% of the children who age in the system at age 18 will end up homeless, incarcerated, trafficked, on the streets, doing stuff. There's children in this room, and also dead within 3 years. 90% we're losing within 3 years. So if we can prevent those children from going into foster care in the first place, because for those kids through the care portal that we're helping, it's not a case of neglect or abuse. It's other things that are going on. And when I found that out, I was like, no, not when the church is here. Not when the church can be answer to that call. So that's where the care portal is currently at. But what I would love for the care portal to continue to do as we start to manage it, we just took what's called implementing role just in April. And what we want to do is now we have, Agape Ranch also works with an adoption. We do what's called Agape Connection every year. And within the last 4 years, we've seen over 30 children come to adoption and find forever family through that event. And so we'll do it every year. And it's because I have a huge heart for adoption. 3 of my 5 children are adopted, and my husband and I continue to foster. And by the grace of God and His mercy, and we are praying that this will continue to be true, every family that we work with, Agape Ranch touches and we work with, who are every child who come up for adoption, 100% of those children have been adopted. We were able to find forever families for them. And also in foster care, we have children who are, as Joel said, being separated from their sibling groups. There is a family that I personally knew within Agape Ranch fold where they were taking care of a 13-year-old teenager. And but later they found out that she also had a 3-year-old sister. And during one of these visits, they visited, and the person that I knew had to tear the 3-year-old away from her 13-year-old foster daughter. And she said, Susan, I can't do this every week. There's just no way. But this family, they're older, they have grandchildren and all that, so they were only going to foster teenage girls. So their house was nowhere near it needed to be to take on a 3-year-old little girl. So our church, my church in Corpus, came together and got them all the supplies they needed to get their home at par with standard and regulation, to bring that 3-year-old home with them, which they did, which is awesome. But I would love for the care portal to move into that space as well, when the needs of foster care come up, that we'll be utilizing that also in the foster care system. And then right now we're also working and trying to establish the mentorship for foster children as they age out. A big reason why the statistic is so high is there's no connection. There's no one to walk beside them when they turn 18. I mean, kind of think about that for 1 second. When you were 18, when I was 18, we're still kids, right? 18-year-olds are still children. And so when there's no one to go back home to, or there's no one to help them along, there's your 90% statistic. And so that's what we're trying to really fight against in that. Because really for me, this is a life calling, and one of the stories I love to tell, just to kind of share this story, because those are all our programs, but what I love and what God has really given me the fire for is to create a 19-home community for foster children that is faith-based, so that our church can take care of these kids, to let them know that it's not their fault, that they're valuable in the sight of Jesus and His people, and their past do not have to determine their future. So I had a 11-year-old foster son that lived with me. I already have 5 kids. The state of Texas does not let me allow to have more than 6 children in my home. So I can only foster one at a time. So I had an 11-year-old Adrian at my house, and God just worked it out. This was not on purpose. God just worked it out that one of my friends had his 2 sisters. And so we were visiting, we were playing, we were all doing all that stuff, but at the, just to make this story real short, I can tell you the long version later if you want to. Their parental rights were coming to an end. It just was not working out. It was the day that the mom had to make a decision. She could either fight or she could sign her rights over. She saw the difference in her children that was happening. And she actually signed over her rights, saying, I wish when I was their age that somebody came and rescued me. In Agape Ranch, if one child, if one family cannot take on a sibling group, the ranch can take on a sibling group. So they don't have to be separated. They can see each other every day. They can go to the same school. They can have the same memories. They can have shared memories. The beautiful story about this is that my friend had a calling in her heart. 3 of them. Their adoption will finalize in October. That is the beauty of the church. That if we all work together, every child could find a family to call their own. And I just so believe, along with Joel, in my heart, that the church can stand up into this space and be the answer. It could be just simple thing as, I'm just going to provide foster parent night out. I'm just going to go and volunteer one night so that the foster parents can have a break, because it's the good, high-quality foster parents. They're the ones who are burning out. So if we could support them, then they can last longer. And as a church, we can continue to spur one another on, allow adoptions to happen. If you can't adopt yourself, you can help along with the lawyer costs. That's where the care portal can come in and say, hey, let us help make this adoption finalized. So those are the ways that we as the church can step up and help. And the care portal is on its way to move on through all this space of child advocacy. So thank you so much for allowing me to share with you, and I just really appreciate the opportunity. Thank you. And I'm going to hand it back to Jill.
Susan's amazing. And if it wasn't clear to you, she's building a neighborhood, not an institution, but an entire neighborhood for the Jesus people, the foster children. It's going to be in Oasis County, it's going to be in the London School District. And of that over 100 children that we're losing, once her facility is fully built, we'll be keeping 40 to 70 of those. That's a big part of the solution right there. And that's Susan's dream and vision. So I'm so grateful for her. You talk about raising up the poor from the dust and giving them a seat with the prince. That's what Susan's about. That's what she's doing. So she's giving you some information about Agape Ranch Teen Care Portal as a small part of a very comprehensive child welfare ministry that she started that's running really well in this area. And so if you have questions about it, we'd love to explain more about that to you. And so at this time, as a